Before we begin, I want to thank everyone who already follows this channel. Your support allows us to keep bringing deep and revealing biblical studies like this one. And if this is your first time here, consider subscribing now, because today's story may completely change the way you see one of the most misunderstood figures in the Bible. When people hear the name Lot, they usually think of destruction, sin, and the fall of Sodom and Gomorrah. His name is often associated with failure, moral weakness, and tragic decisions. But what if I told you that the Bible presents Lot in a way that is far more complex, uncomfortable, and even unsettling than most sermons ever mention? This is the hidden story of Lot, told in a way you have probably never heard before. Lot was not a pagan, nor was he ignorant of God. He was the nephew of Abraham, a man who walked closely with God, heard his voice, and lived under divine promises. That means Lot grew up surrounded by faith, miracles, and spiritual knowledge. He was not distant from God's truth. He was very close to it. At one point, both Abraham and Lot became extremely prosperous. Their herds grew so large that the land could no longer sustain them together, and conflict arose between their shepherds. To avoid division, Abraham made an unexpected decision. He allowed Lot to choose first where he would go. Lot lifted his eyes and saw the plain of the Jordan. It was green, fertile, well-watered, and full of promise. From a human perspective, it looked like the perfect opportunity. But there was a problem that Lot chose to ignore. That land was near Sodom, a city already known for its deep corruption and moral decay. Lot did not ask God before choosing. He did not consult spiritual discernment. He chose based on what looked good, profitable, and convenient. That single decision marked the beginning of a slow and dangerous descent. At first, Lot simply lived near Sodom. Then, over time, the Bible tells us that he moved closer until eventually he was living inside the city itself. Sin rarely pulls people in suddenly. It works gradually, quietly, step by step. Lot likely believed he could live in that environment without being affected by it. He may have thought that his values were strong enough, that his faith would protect him. But the environment always leaves a mark. Eventually, Lot became a respected figure in Sodom. Scripture describes him sitting at the city gate, a position associated with leadership, authority, and judgment. Outwardly, it appeared that Lot had influence. But when the moment of testing arrived, the truth was revealed. When angels came to Sodom and stayed at Lot's house, the men of the city surrounded his home, demanding to abuse the visitors. Lot went outside to confront them, and in a moment that shocks readers to this day, he offered his own daughters instead. This moment forces us to face a disturbing reality. Lot knew what was right, but he had lost the ability to act rightly. Prolonged exposure to corruption had warped his moral judgment. He was still sensitive to evil, but no longer strong enough to respond correctly. This is what happens when someone lives too long in an environment that contradicts God's standards. You may still feel discomfort, but your responses become distorted. Soon after, God's judgment on Sodom and Gomorrah was set in motion. Abraham interceded, pleading with God to spare the city if righteous people could be found. And despite everything, God chose to save Lot, not because Lot was perfect, not because his decisions were flawless, but because of mercy. Even then, Lot hesitated. The angels had to physically pull him out of the city. He delayed till he looked back emotionally, even before his wife looked back physically. This shows us how deeply rooted Sodom had become in his heart. When they were fleeing, they received a clear command: do not look back. But Lot's wife turned her gaze behind her, and she became a pillar of salt. This was not merely about turning one's head, it was about longing, attachment, regret. She left Sodom with her body, but her heart remained there. Lot escaped, but nothing was the same. He lost his wife, he lost his home, he lost his reputation. Eventually, he ended up living in a cave with his daughters, isolated and broken. And there, the story reaches its darkest point. Believing there was no future, his daughters made a tragic decision. They intoxicated their father and committed acts that would shape generations. From that moment came nations that would later become enemies of God's people. Lot was saved, but the consequences of his choices followed him. In the New Testament, the Apostle Peter refers to Lot as a righteous man. This confuses many readers. How could someone with such failures be called righteous? The answer is uncomfortable. Lot was internally distressed by the sin around him. He was not at peace with it, but he also failed to separate himself from it. He represents a type of believer who knows God, feels conviction, but avoids radical obedience. Lot's story is not just ancient history, it is a warning. Prosperity without holiness is dangerous. Opportunities that look good are not always God's will. Being close to sin always comes at a cost. God can rescue you, but He does not remove the consequences of every decision. If this message is speaking to you, do not ignore it. Learn from Lot while there is still time, and if this study helped you see Scripture in a deeper way, make sure to like this video. Subscribe to the channel so you don't miss future biblical teachings like this. Share this message with someone who needs to hear it today. And tell me in the comments what part of Lot's story impacted you the most. Thank you for watching. May God bless you.